Hey Insiders, Daniel Pickett here with an unboxing, but not just that, another Aquamonday. This is one I've been pretty excited for. I think I've been waiting almost a year for this guy to come out. I think we were first shown him at Toy Fair in 2019, if I'm not mistaken. This is the Mezco 112 Collective Aquaman. I have been asking since the creation of this line, once it looked like they were going to go pretty deep into the DC universe, when are we getting Aquaman? I've got a couple of friends that worked on this line for a while, and they assured me he was coming, and they were right, and he's here now. This guy's I'm a little late getting this up. We're in February now. We're coming up on Toy Fair. this guy shipped in December, and he was shipping to me just right before I left the state to go visit my folks for Christmas. So I was actually like tracking this thing, like hoping he was going to arrive before I left, and he didn't. And so I kept seeing like FedEx trying to deliver him, and I eventually had to like reroute it. I don't know if you know, but now you can reroute your FedEx package to be held at some Walgreens, which is ultimately what I ended up doing. So I was like, I don't want to miss out on this guy. I can't have them send him back. So I was very happy to come home and find him safe and sound. I'm a huge fan of the 112 Collective line. I don't have a ton of them. As you know, they're expensive to collect, but man, every single one of them just knocks it out of the park. They're really top-notch figures. Mezco does a great job on them. I actually have some of the very first ones. I have the original black and white Dark Knight that they gave out to Toy Fair Press when they were announcing the line. I have that Dark Knight and Mutant Leader 2-pack that came with that giant heavy resin base that was a Comic-Con exclusive. What else? I've got a Captain America, I've got Green Arrow, I've got Mr. Spock. So I've got a few sprinkled here and there, and they're just really, really dynamite. But, I was excited about this because there's not a lot of high-end collectible Aquaman stuff coming out right now. So this was a real thrill, and I was excited to see it. So, again, the packaging is always really dynamite. You can see beautiful orange, the logo, his logo, the orange with the yellow, just kind of mimicking his costume. At the top, you have the 112 Collective. On the side piece, you've got more of the green and yellow, and then on the back, it shows what all you get with him. And this is something I always love about the Mezco line, is that it really does lend itself to great display, and not everyone's will look the same on the shelf because you can add different costume pieces, different heads. The sort of flight posable stand allows you to put him in different poses. So, if you see one in someone else's collection, it's not necessarily going to look like the one in your collection, which I think that's always pretty exciting. So, as you can see here, he's got his trident, a couple of alternate heads. There's these are fists, so there's actually 8 hands total. These are duplicates of these here. He's got a crown, and he's got sort of a shoulder piece. So, and then of course the stand here, and these are some of the solicitation pictures they did. It's super easy to open, and of course they mentioned these are not for kids, not something you want to play with. I don't know, normally these things are about $80, $90, $70 depending on where you're getting them from, so I wouldn't think you'd give them to kids, but they re-emphasized that in some of the literature inside. So we'll just slide this guy out so you can see him a little better. There's not too reflective surfaces. Go, and you can sort of see the clamshell with the different stuff. Now, Mezco has been doing their own take on these DC figures. It's not always sort of just the straight comic book version. Oh, everything's going to fall out now. I probably, for display purposes, should have opened him like that. Silly me. And even, Aquaman is sort of no exception with that. All the hands are falling out. That's fine. We're going to use them all. We're going to look at them all. Out, buddy. They always do a great job protecting everything inside of here also, which I always appreciate. Get both heads out. There's the armor. Then in the back here, don't forget when you get yours to open up the back, because the rest of the stand is here. And then it's always great, they include a plastic bag so that you can, a little Ziploc, so you can put your extra pieces in there when you're not displaying them with that. So don't forget about that when you are opening yours. That little guy coming out. There we go. What's this? I think I'll eat that. Not really, kids. Don't eat the silica packets. And let's see, here we go. Take his little plastic off. Yes. It feels great. Oh, he's got another little piece of plastic underneath here, doesn't he? Let's take his plastic skirt off. And the belt slides down better. There we go. He's got a peg in his foot here, which can go right on the stand. As long as you line it up like I'm not doing properly. All right. And so, here you go with that guy. So as I was saying, Mezco has a tendency with these to kind of put their own spin on them. You know, he's got a little bit of extra kibble around his collar and his belt there. They've done a little bit of a number on his gloves. So that's something I think part of what I think intrigued Mez about getting to do these is kind of putting his own spin on them. And, you know, Aquaman is no exception. But still, I mean, you can very much tell who that is supposed to be. They don't go so far off. They're not trying to reinvent the wheel on anything. So you can certainly tell that that is supposed to be Aquaman. So we've got that sort of standard head. We've got this yelling head, which is nice because as you can see, his hair is mussed like he is underwater. There's still some action to it. It tells a story if you use this head and pose it. And then, let's see. Then there's more, this is a closed mouth, sort of an intense stationary head, but again, you can see they've done the same thing with the hair, where it's got some motion to it. Let's see, his little shoulder pad here. Very interesting thing, it's got a little clip on the back so you can put clip the trident to it. Let's see, I think we can. Oh boy, it's a tight squeeze. Well, don't want to mess that up. I guess it's probably better if we pop his head off, put that on, and then we'll just, since we've got it, we'll pop another head back on. And then we'll take this off and put this guy on. You see he's got on his boots there, he's got the fins. And then you can, like I said, clip that on there if you want. So he's always got it with him. And then he's also got this crown, which I think goes this way. And the fun thing about that is you can see there's a little magnet inside here. So I'm assuming all three heads are going to have that where it will stick on. So that's great. Right there. Depends on how kingly you want to display your Aquaman. So there he is, kind of in full greeble with all the little bits and bobs on him. Let's just see here. Let's do the experiments. Do all three heads have the magnet in them? That one does. Yep. And let's see, the hollering head also has the magnet, so trifecta. They did great. So yeah, no matter which head you display, if you want to use the crown, it is there. So he's got fists for his hands. He's got a hand that holds things. He's got sort of an action grabby hand. See, I'll get you. And then of course, he's Aquaman, so he's going to need some swimming hands too, which is perfect. Stand has a great big logo on it. The stands have always been a little tricky to me because, as you'll see, when you get this and this, it's like, hey, there's a peg there, but there's a peg on this thing too. You're supposed to poke this whole thing out, and then this guy plugs into it. So, you know, if you pop that out, it's a little tricky. I've done it on a couple of mine, but it doesn't go easy. You got to kind of work it. But make sure you put that in your plastic baggie so you can hold on to it. But then you've got this great display stand with the clamp on it, so you can display him in like swimming poses and action poses, which is always fun. You can have him fighting somebody if you want to. Let's see, let's have him holding his trident here. Oh, that's nice. It's got the hand. Whoop. All right, well, that was my fault that it popped off. But the hand, a lot of times, you know, I have a lot of Aquaman. There's a lot of action figure hands that are really hard to open. They're hard to get the thing in. You're worried you're going to break either the trident or the hands. This actually has got some really nice give to it, which is great. Let's put him back on here for a second. It only works when you line the peg up. There we are. So again, this is 112, which means it's a 6-inch scale figure, and lots of great articulation. There's a great base body hidden underneath here. The fabric has a good give to it. The fabric that they use on these guys, you know, I hope it holds up over time. It's got kind of a rubberization to it, so you know it is kind of prone to breaking down potentially. Which I'll be very sad if that happens, because you don't want that to happen, especially to one of your high-end collectibles. So just be careful with that over time. You just want to make sure that you don't grab him and it just disintegrates in your hand, or you're trying to repose him and stretch it too far. You have to be careful of those sorts of things. But yeah, I think very, very noble attempt. He certainly lives up to my expectations. I'll be curious to see if they have a tendency to do variants on a lot of figures, especially like the main characters. And, you know, Aquaman's had a few other costumes over the years, so I'll be curious to see, you know, they have done Aquaman in this scale in the movie version of both Aquaman and Aquaman from Justice League. So, but I'm wondering if they'll do more sort of comic book versions. If they do, I'm afraid I'm in. You know, sometimes they will do previews exclusives on them too that kind of have a different costume variant. So, you know, he's got a good ball joint on the neck that you saw when I took the head off, and then there, you know, the neck has a peg underneath here too. Good shoulders with good rotation. I'm going to flip them all the way around. Then there is a bicep swivel underneath there. Double elbows. The wrist has a ball, you can see back and forth all around, and then of course you can swap out the hands with the pin, and they swap out pretty easy. I'm not afraid of breaking these, kind of like a hot toy where you're like, oh boy, is that gonna snap? He's got mid-torso. I don't think he's got waist, but he certainly has good hips, double knees. Does he have a thigh swivel or anything under there? No. And then ankles. So you can get him in a lot of poses, I'm sure. Get him swimming, get him being regal, put him sitting on a throne if you can find one. But I'm very, very pleased to be able to add this guy to my Aquaman collection. He is available right now. I think he's still available through Mezco, but certainly I've seen him on some of our sponsors like Big Bad Toy Store, Megalopolis, Entertainment Earth. I'll put some links down in the show notes of this so you can check him out if you want to. But this is the Mezco 112 Collective Aquaman. Home run. Can't wait to put him in with the rest of the collection. I think I will probably use the stand and have him sort of elevated. I think that would look interesting and kind of set him apart from kind of the other ones in my collection. They're just kind of Aquaman standing waiting for a bust. So since we have the ability to have some dynamic posing and get some height on him, get him off the ground, and actually make him look swimming, I think I will absolutely take advantage of that in my collection. So thank you guys for watching. Make sure you subscribe. We've got a lot more Aquamondays coming up, as well as other reviews. Subscribing always helps us promote the channel, helps people find us. Hit like. Tell us who you still would like to see in the Mezco 112 Collective in the comments down there. And also, is there another Aquaman costume that you would like to see? I'd like to know that. So thank you so much for watching. I greatly appreciate it, and we'll be back with lots more toy goodness here on actionfigureinsider.com.